Oh my gosh, we are live, B!
Oh my goodness.
I think he was trying not to swear. Anyway, hello everybody. I'm Tori, and this dude over here is
Bill.
And it's been a minute since we've been live over here on Girly Girl Style. If you have been following us for any time, you know that we used to go live pretty regularly every Sunday at 4. And we would talk mostly about thrift hauls and reselling and our adventures there and our small business. And my focus has kind of taken a shift recently, and I've been spending a lot of time crafting and making videos around that. So today is our first Scrappy Hour.
Hopefully the last.
No, it will not be the last, I promise you. I was going to call it Crafty Hour, which I'm still kind of on the fence about scrappy versus crafty. But our focus really is going to be around scraps, because one of the things that we find, whether you are a thrifter or a maker or a reseller, is you tend to have a lot of scraps in your life from, whatever it is. Making in general, we make a lot of scraps. And with that in mind, there's a lot of projects and DIY adventures that you can have with scraps. So I'm really excited today because our very first Scrappy Hour, I'm going to be joined by one of my besties. Maybe she'll have some stories for us. We've been together a very long time. We've been together. We've been friends for a very long time, and we'll talk more about that. We live in different cities, but we are still close at heart. So I'm going to introduce my friend Kathy. I'm going to bring her into the stream, and I'm hoping this isn't the last time she joins us, because she's amazing. So let me bring Kathy on into the feed.
Hello.
Hello, Kathy. So Kathy, welcome. Tell us a little bit. Tell us your social media. You just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Kathy, also known as Crafty Small on the internet. I launched my little crafty handmade gift business just a couple months ago, but I have been a long time crafter since I was like a preteen. I've always been into paper crafts, scrapbooking when that was a huge thing. I've done it all. I've owned a Cricut for I think 10 years now. I had the original Explorer, so I'm a little OG. I like to break the rules when it comes to the Cricut Society. But yeah, so I predominantly sell sublimation goods on Etsy, but paper crafts are kind of where my heart is. So yes, so Tori's mug has her Girly Girl Style logo on it, and then my little cocktail cup today has my Crafty Small logo on it. So yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, I'm daytime accountant, full-time mom, wife, and I like to craft.
Excellent. All very, very good things. So tell us, where did your name for your business came from? This is always a fun question that people like to ask.
Well, my husband, when we first started dating, gave me the pet name Small. He still to this day really can't tell you where it came from, other than I think after an evening, probably with a few adult beverages, he just decided that I was small and not large. So I'm going to take it as a really long-term, awesome compliment.
I remember John would always call you Small and Small.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Smalls.
well, because B always calls me Pants, which I don't know if everyone here knows this, but Bill's nickname for me is Pants. So it was always such a cute little thing that we both have the weirdest nicknames from our spouses.
Yes. So yeah, so then when it was time to come up with a little business name, and it's like, well, I'm still small after all these years, so I will be Crafty Small.
Awesome. And what about the colors that you chose? Is that based on like your favorite colors?
Yeah, so a purple has always had a soft spot in my heart, so that's why it's the purple background. And then one of my really good friends that I work with, she does marketing actually for my company. And so I asked her, it's like, well, you have free range. Like, I like the whole watercolor look, and I love purple. And so she actually designed my logo for me. She's really awesome. So she put this one together, and I just loved it. So, and it's really easy to sublimate on things. So yeah, so it worked out.
Awesome.
Gio Mama's hubby calls her Pocket Pet.
Pocket Pet. So another fun little nickname for a spouse.
Yeah. See, the weird names, I think they coincide with successful marriages.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I agree. So
Oh,
what?
already?
What?
Can we just talk a little bit more?
We're talking.
Dude, you were gonna get into that.
I was not. Bill's
thing
so okay.
already.
The reason Bill is anxious, everybody, is because we've kind of teased him with this whole "I'm gonna make him sew today"
You're
thing.
gonna make me sew today.
What if I
Yeah.
don't make you sew? How are you gonna feel?
I use a knife and a cutting board. That's it.
In the kitchen, but you're in my world now.
Ugh,
You're in my world now.
disaster.
So as Kathy mentioned, so she has this background in crafting, and we have been friends. We were talking about this earlier. I think we decided on
15.
I think it's 15. I think it's been 15 years that we have been friends. And ever since I've known Kathy, she's been crafty and I've been crafty, but we've never, I think that we did some crafts in the past together, but it wasn't like a business then. It was more like just us doing
Hanging
stuff.
out at the dining room table and making flower rings.
After a late night at the Mad Eye.
It could be after a late night of cocktails. Yes, absolutely. But I do remember you always had crafty things around. So I was always like, we were kin right there. We were always...
Yeah, and it's like, even from a crafting standpoint, it's like after college, it's like I wasn't in a financial situation to like buy cute home decor. So it's like you can buy a blank sign and put some stuff on it, and then bam, you've got a cute sign for your kitchen in your apartment. It's like that was so much more affordable and practical for me. And I still do those things even today because it just makes sense and it's fun to do. So
yeah. Well, and it's also if you find things around your house, it's also very sustainable. And I think that's where I love to come from. This is that as a sewist, I end up with tons of fabric scraps. This is just one. This is one bin of fabric scraps of the many that I have in here. And so for me, it's like, well, what can I do with these scraps? And I'm always thinking about different projects. And that's why today was so exciting, because there are a ton of projects we can do, but your love for paper craft and my love for fabric craft kind of came together in a, well, let's see what we can do moment. So what have you brought for us today? What kind of project do you want to share with us?
Well, so I am new to the Etsy world, and I'm coming to the realization that some of the cutesy stuff that sets your packages aside it can be expensive. The stickers and the fancy packaging and the pretty tissue paper. I mean, you want someone to feel like it's Christmas morning when they're opening something that they purchased off your Etsy shop, but you don't want your packaging to cost you more than the profit you're making off of whatever you're selling. So I decided through this, when you approached me and said, let's do Scrappy Hour, it forced me to organize all of my scraps.
No way. You organized?
Nice.
I did. So I did have a huge stack that I would just hide in the closet behind me and keep the doors closed, and then, out of sight, out of mind. So I went through and I organized it, and then I realized I have a ton of scraps, whereas I can use them to make little thank you note cards out of all the scraps that I have. And then when I go to package up my next Etsy sale, I can just write my little thank you on the back of it, and they get a little personalized thank you, and it's one of a kind.
Love it. I love it. And what tools did you use for this? So obviously you mentioned that you love your Cricut. You've been a Cricut user for 10 years, which to me is amazing, because I didn't even hear about Cricut until like I got one 2 years ago. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not as old school as some people remember the Cricut cartridges that you used to have to load into your machine to be able to print things. I didn't have a Cricut back then. I had the very first Cricut that had like a desktop app that you could go into Design Space. So that was my first Cricut, was when they made that huge like leap in technology. But yeah, I pretty much, if I can cut it out on my Cricut, I do. I mean, unless it's a very simple square or something, I pretty much cut it all. So for this one, for instance, all 3 layers got cut. So this pink is just pink cardstock. The white might be kind of hard to tell, but it's glitter cardstock. And then this purple is vinyl. So for me, after all these years of crafting, anything that has like individual letters like this, I typically cut out in vinyl, because it's way easier to apply to anything. Because trying to glue all these individual letters, if I had cut it out of cardstock, Not saying it's impossible, but that would probably make me like throw my glue bottle. So I try to avoid that.
Well, one of the best tips you actually gave me when I got my Cricut was being mindful of the text that I choose when I'm doing vinyl. So that is one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got, and it was from you. And it really was like, because there are certain fonts that don't print very well anyway. So yeah, if you can print it with vinyl, you know, make sure that you know it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the times for me, when I look at fonts, I look at them to make sure they've like got a little bit thicker lines, just because typically they cut better. They're easier to take off either the transfer paper, or even if you're cutting them out of cardstock, like a little bit thicker letters, just a little bit easier to glue down. If you get into, I mean, I did cut out one thing that's kind of intricate. I don't know how easy it is here. Let's put it behind there. So the thank you is out of cardstock, but it's all one piece. So that's why it's like, yes, it's thinner lines, but it's all one. So it's a little bit easier to handle, I guess.
Okay, so right there, I love that on that glitter paper. Like right there, I'm like, ooh, I would love to get that.
Yeah, so this is holographic cardstock. And then my favorite part, which not everyone loves, but for this instance, it's just like craft paper on the back. So it'll be really easy for me to write a little thank you note on before I toss it into my box.
Nice. I love it. I have a very bad example of what I did for my cards because at the holidays, right, I was like, okay, well, I want to take some of my fabric scraps and some paper that I have sitting around, and I want to make like gift tags. So mine is so basic compared to yours, which looks so pro. I ended up just taking like these pieces of paper that I had that I got at the thrift store, like a whatever cardstock paper. And then I just took fabric that I had and then just stitched. So this is, anyway, oh my gosh, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. So you can see it's just a crisscross stitch with the machine. And yeah, you can actually use your sewing machine to stitch fabric on here. And then I just used the little hole punch to make it so you can pop it on the packages. So it doesn't look as professional, but it definitely gives a little bit of, personalization.
I was going to say, it's a personal touch though. So like imperfections just mean someone put their time and effort and energy into something to make it one of a kind, specifically for your package. Like to me, that means way more than a postcard that you bought off Amazon and you threw in the box. It's like you took the time to put something like this together. That's amazing. So
absolutely. And as Etsy sellers, so it's different. So I think a lot of people that are going to watch this in the afterwards or now might be resellers. And one thing that we've always done, we want it to be professional. So we'll get business cards and, Amazon thank you cards and that kind of thing. But after I opened my Etsy shop, I wanted everything to have that personal touch. And when I order from Etsy, I want that as well. Like I want it to feel like a person made it.
Right. No, I sold stuff on Poshmark too, and I have the postcards from Amazon and I still use them. But I will say one of my favorite packages I ever got on Poshmark had a handmade note. Like I think she had hand drawn the flowers on it. Like that's what it looked like. Like on one side she had used metallic pens and it very much looked handmade. And it was just this tiny little card that I think she had drawn on and then wrote her message on the other side. It's probably one of my favorite like little thank you cards that I've received from Poshmark.
All right, question. So Live Style Rewind says, I find this kind of stuff like paper crafts and whatnot so interesting. I don't know where to get started. I don't have a Cricut. What's the most inexpensive way to start?
Note cards.
Love it.
So honestly, you can find them even at the Goodwill or you could find them even at the craft store. So even at Michael's dollar store, you can get just the basic colored cards that have nothing inside of them. And then just go get yourself some stickers or some pack of paper and just cut things out. It can be geometrical, it could be abstract, it could be anything. You don't have to have a Cricut to start crafting.
Agreed. And I will say, I was going to say something and then I lost my mind because I'm trying to use my new iPad and my brain is everywhere. But yeah, I mean, you can use also recycled material. So the other thing, you could go to your recycle bin. If you have cardboard that you have, like, okay, so like a 12-pack of beer, right? I'm going to use that as an example because I saw a 12-pack of beer upstairs. So you have this cardboard, you could actually just like flip it to the side that doesn't have anything on it. And then you could take old fabric, or maybe you have, as a reseller, maybe you have fabric that, or an item that is damaged and you can't do anything with it. You could cut that fabric out and then just hot glue it to the back. Hot glue, I'm going to tell you, this is, I love this gun. This is a great way. Okay, I thought it was warm for a second. That was going to be scary. But it's a really easy way because you can make that, and then you have the stiffness of the paper and a card. So I love that idea, Kathy.
Yeah, note cards are a great place to start. I used to make like holiday cards, like birthday cards and Christmas cards. And when my grandma was still around, I basically got a card from her for every holiday. Like every holiday that made it on a calendar, I got a card from her for. And cards are expensive. I mean, they're not expensive. They're like $5, but $5 for a card is expensive. But it's like, man, why don't you just take some note cards and like some pens and some paper? And my grandma loved it.
I remember my grandma used to, so she would use a ruler. Like when she would write all the things, I remember those personalized letters where everything was handwritten with a ruler.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my grandma had like the best handwriting, the beautiful. She might as well have been writing in calligraphy on a regular basis. Like her handwriting was just gorgeous.
Yes, we don't have that anymore. That's why I love. I try to write in cursive anytime I can. So when I'm doing like my Etsy packages, I always sign everything, and I always write in cursive because if I don't do it, I'm gonna forget.
Right.
But another project. So this is what I was looking for. So Liv, you had asked about, what else you can do. Okay, I made this morning. Okay, Kathy and I met for a little bit. We chatted, and then I immediately was like, oh, let's make a little weird thing right here. So all of this was a calendar. Every year Bill buys me calendars. It's like his thing. And it was a Ruth Bader Ginsburg calendar. And I took all of these images of her and I made a collage, but I had all this extra paper just like sitting around. And I could have thrown it in the recycle bin, but if it goes to the recycle bin, a lot of times it still ends up in the trash. So I ended up just creating this like weaved pattern. And this might be what I have Bill stitch together if we decide to go that route, although he is cuddling the puppy right now. But you can.
Bill, you're getting on the machine today.
I'm gonna make him.
Kathy, I'm gonna come down there and you know what's gonna happen.
So I just used tape on here, which is fine. But if you do like a zigzag stitch right around it, it could look like a really cool quilting piece. And then the back isn't very exciting, but this is what I was mentioning before. You could take a piece of old cardboard and hot glue it, and then you have this little card of something super unique that no one else is going to have. And it's a great way to, rescue paper.
You too.
Yeah. So
this.
Oh, well, hello. Special gift, everybody. The princess is here.
Hi, Nora.
Hi.
Can you say hi? All right, let's What do you want to tell me?
How can you keep joining her?
I know. I'm talking to Tori again.
I know. It's just me again.
All right.
Hey, John.
Hey, Bill.
Hey,
Good to see
John.
you, buddy.
Welcome. This is the fam. This is the Kathy fam.
We got a marble run thing going on. Do you want to go play marble run?
So you're inspiring a whole new generation. She's going to grow up to be just as creative as you are.
Oh, she already is. She loves crafts. We do crafts for pretty much every holiday. She loves to color. She makes all of the good stuff.
Okay.
She picks her outfits too, right? I remember.
Yes, she does. Yeah, no, Mom has not been able to pick out an outfit in at least almost a year.
Well, that's good. That's one less thing to worry about.
Yes.
I mean, we have boundaries, like
There's my child's just sitting
yeah,
over
like
there
no shorts in the winter. You have to wear closed-toed shoes if it's raining. I mean, we have rules, but yeah, no, and her outfits are pretty interesting some days. Really just depends on what kind of mood she wakes up in.
It'll catch back up there. It's catching back up. I have no idea.
There you
Sorry, everybody. We have full bars, but I don't know if it's the basement or what.
Well, that's okay. You're back now.
I'm back. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the project that you brought and how everyone can do this project. Yeah, let's go with that.
So I think little thank you cards like this can truly be made out of anything you have laying around your house. There's absolutely no need to go to the store to make something like this. You could if you read the newspaper, use newspaper. That's really a cool way. Mod Podge with some watered down Elmer's glue, like Mod Podge it onto something. If you've got cardboard or something around, you could do that. I mean, for me, I am a crafter, so of course I have a lot of stuff. So all the little thank you note cards that I'm making today is completely, all of my supplies have come out of this bucket. And this bucket is all of my scraps. It's not just paper in here. I have vinyl. I have heat transfer vinyl. So it's just kind of all the stuff I mainly work with. But I keep like all sizes of scraps. So some of them are big, which of course you'd never get rid of. But I even keep like just random pieces because this is big enough for me to cut something out like this size, which I'm weeding right now. It'll say thank you, but I keep it. My husband tells me I'm a craft supply hoarder.
No.
I'm just trying to save the world one piece of paper at a time.
Kathy, I am right there with you because I use my little punches. I have I found at the thrift store, the little punches, and I take my old vinyl and I make little stickers out of them. And I just keep everything in my little drawers.
So, yes. So I'm just making little thank you cards today out of whatever I have. And you could do this out of vinyl or out of fabric too. That's what Tori and I were talking about earlier. It's like if you have a 12-pack of beer somewhere, grab the cardboard and glue some like cut it out into a fun shape. If you've got a punch or you got a cricket, I mean, you could cut it out in any shape. If you have a cricket, it could be a square. I mean, it could be a circle. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Layer some fabric on it with some glue, maybe put some stitches on it if you know how to use a sewing machine, and write thank you on it. I mean, or it could just be, you know, a pattern on one side and then just your thank you note on the other. I'm putting thank you on these because, well, I have the scraps to do it, but there's no rule on what a thank you note has to look like.
Exactly. I love that because I think that a lot of us get in this headspace where it needs to be perfect. It needs to be professional, right?
Yeah.
But like you already mentioned, one of your favorite packages from Poshmark was someone personalized it. And I think a lot of people are looking for that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it sets you aside, right? I mean, it makes it a little bit different. Almost everything I sell on Etsy, somebody else sells. And that's great. I mean, we should be empowering each other to be able to be successful. But at the same time, it's like if I want my sublimated tumbler to just stand out a little bit different, one way to do that is personalizing it. So when somebody opens it up, it's like, oh, they like hand wrote this thank you note. It's addressed to me. Like it's not just on the order form, thanks for your purchase. You know, like you can take it like a notch up from there. And that might be impactful enough for them to come back to you and buy something else from you instead of going to another shop that does the same as you.
Exactly.
Stephen Wolf had a question. I have a Cricut, only used it for cutting, used it for iron on and cutting out felt.
Okay.
I've never used vinyl. Does vinyl stick to the paper?
Ooh, it's a great question.
Yes. So it can get a little tricky with textured paper. So it might be hard to see, but this is glitter white. So this is a little bit trickier to stick on. But like this one, it just the floral print with the black and white stripes is vinyl and the red is vinyl, but it stuck right to this gold shimmer paper. So unless your paper is textured, the regular vinyl should stick right to it.
And it's super simple, like especially I found the regular vinyl because it's sticky. It's like a sticker. And I know GTO Mama said something about doing newspaper nails, but I've also done used my vinyl on my nails as like the little hole punch and did a heart and put, silly,
I've done that just with vinyl, like solid color vinyl, like cut little decals out. I cut little snowflakes out for like Christmas winter months, and then I had those on my fingers. So
exactly.
And you can just do a clear coat right over them, and then you just use your acetone nail polish remover and they'll come off just like a regular nail decal that you buy at the store.
Absolutely. So I want to say hello, Darren. Oh my gosh, I know it's been forever. And Leslie, I saw you here as well. GTO Mama, everyone, if I don't see your name, welcome. I feel like it's been forever since we have talked to all of you. So thank you for popping in. I was going to show, you're
still looking at that sewing machine like it needs to eat.
Phyllis, He's going to sew. By the end of this day, we are going to have Bill sewing. But kind of building off what Kathy was saying about the personalization. So I had a customer today, and this was like perfect timing. So I, sell my handcrafted stuff on Etsy, and right now I'm making mask covers and for the KN95. And, I had just switched to that, and I had sold quite a bit of them, but I hadn't had any return customers. And sometimes you question, well, there's other people doing it. Maybe they're going there. But this customer came back today, wrote a really amazing review. She actually bought the pattern so she could make her own. And then she bought 4 more mask covers, like literally maybe an hour and a half ago. And so what I'm going to do for her, and I know it's extra, but we're talking about customization and personalization. The prints that she chose, I actually have fabric scraps for. So she had like 4, she's getting 4 different mask covers, and I have already these little scraps. So I'm going to take some of these scraps, and I'm going to make her a thank you card with these scraps. And again, that's going back to that. How do you set yourself apart? Because if you bought this from just a big box store, they're not going to take the time to make something personal for you. They're going to shove it in a box.
They're going to make you pay for a bag unless you bring your own and just kick your butt out the door.
Exactly. So I'm kind of excited. This really inspired this for my customer, Sarah. So very excited.
Very nice. But like, one, like you're super giddy, right? Because you had a return customer for a newer product that you just recently launched on your Etsy account. And this is your first return. Like, I'd want to put like, I don't know, an exploding box in there, and she just got hit with a bunch of confetti when she opens her second box, because like you want to celebrate that, right? Like someone thinks your product is so awesome that they bought it twice.
Exactly.
That's great.
They came back.
I think that's what every small business owner like strives for. So of course you want to go big and you want to make it personalized. Target does not do anything different for me, no matter how many times I go there.
Exactly. Well, you can do it, and we talked about this too. You can do it for not an expensive amount. So I will tell you, I have my packaging down to 74 cents. That's all. It cost me 74 cents to create a customized package, and that includes a business card. That includes the care stickers, because I use the Rollo and I buy things in bulk. Yeah, I buy things in bulk, which makes the price a little bit lower.
Right.
My poly mailers, I buy those in bulk, so that's included. I'll use twine that I get at the dollar store, and we reuse, and then stickers that I make on the Cricut. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to make it a great experience. And I think that's where I think people say, oh, Etsy sellers are so extra. They're so extra. They spend so much money on packaging. I mean, yeah.
We are. Okay. So that is like 50% correct. Etsy sellers are extra, but they're all about having money on their bottom line. So they're extra, but they're really frugal about it. That's what we're striving for. And it's better for the environment. We all win.
Yay! Exactly. Okay. So what are you working on right now? So I see, are you weeding out the thank you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just weeded out this thank you.
Cute.
So, and then I'm going to put that. So I've got this yellow piece that I cut out. That's like the shape of a tag, because I thought this might be cute to tie on a package. Yeah. And then I cut out a layer of polka dot vinyl.
Okay.
That I'm going to put on top of the yellow. And then I'm going to put the thank you on top of the polka dots.
Cute. Okay. So you're doing the layering. I have not done layering yet. I do everything like one. So Larry, is it difficult?
It can be, but it doesn't have to be. So being a Cricut user, especially with paper crafts, it's like sometimes you get these like really cool SVGs that you buy on Etsy, or you're part of some sort of, I don't know, crafting membership, and you see this product, right, that's made out of paper, and you're like, that's so cool. And then you load it into Cricut and you realize you're going to have to swap your mats out like 20 times. I loathe swapping out my mats unless it's like a material change, right, where you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So one trick that I do, especially on something like this, where it's 3 pieces, right? And I know that this is thin enough paper, like you learn this over time, but this isn't 80 pound. This is super cheap, thin, like almost like printer paper is kind of what this one is. So it's thinner. So I know that I can cut all 3 of these using the same cutting setting and it would be just fine. That's all through trial and error. That's 10 years of owning a Cricut. You aren't going to just know this from day one. Trust me, I've practiced and I have failed. But one thing I do is like something like this type of project where it's 3 pieces and it's 3 different things that I'm cutting out. Technically, if you had this set up this way in Design Space, this is a 3 mat project. This is 3 like 2-inch pieces of paper that should not be 3 mats. I should not switch my mat out 3 times. That is so much work.
Yes.
So what you can do is once you get your design the way you want it in Design Space, you change all 3 elements to the same color. And I'm ready.
Oh.
So I do have my laptop. Let's see if I can get this close enough so you guys can see it. But you'll see that there's 3 elements and it's all on one colored mat. So these 3 things aren't going to be cut out in the same color, but I want to cut them all at the same time. So if you change all your elements in Design Space that you're cutting out to one color, they'll pop up on one mat and then you can move them around. So you'll see that I put one basically in 3 of the corners of the mat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does.
Okay. So I did that. And then when you go to set your paper on your mat, you do it like that to match where you put it on your Design Space layout.
Nice. Nice.
So then when you go to cut it out, it's going to cut a yellow, a purple, and a blue all at the same time, but you're only doing it on one mat.
Perfect. I love it. And I know you mentioned earlier too, for people that are using maybe their iPad on their Cricut, there is also another like tool that is available.
Yeah, so Cricut is very Apple product friendly. Like Apple products, especially like phones and iPads, you typically get the releases for their newest updates the soonest. At least that's how it seems to be. But if you use an iPad, when you go into Design Space and you click Make It, you have an option. It's called Snap Mat. And you can actually just put your paper anywhere on the mat that you want it. Mm-hmm. You take a picture of the mat through using Snap Mat, and then the image of your mat will show up in your Make It screen. And then you just move your decals around wherever your scraps are on here to be able to cut them all out.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Another frugal way. So you don't, number one, you save time because you're not switching out mats all the time.
Right.
And you can use those smaller pieces of scraps that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so good.
Another question.
Yeah, so it's a time saver and you get to use all your scraps. So, I mean, it's kind of a win-win. I mean, because sometimes like cutting out 3 things, 3 mats, and you're trying to be a good crafter and use your scraps, but you're like, man, that's going to take so much more time, especially people who are new to crafting. I mean, when I first got my Cricut, I had 1 mat.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the mat that I think came with my bundle that I like originally got. And it's like, at that point, you don't know if you love your Cricut. You don't know if you even love crafting. Why would you go out and buy 10 mats?
Or if you hyper focus and you buy everything because you are insane.
But it's like, it wasn't until a few years ago that I had enough mats to truly do like a cycle. And it's because I started doing more complex projects that have a ton of pieces, and it's like there's no way for me to put all those pieces on a mat. And so yeah, I mean, even me who's been doing paper crafts for 10 years, I just recently got a ton of mats to be able to cycle through, because I think my largest mat count is 22. So like on a project, 22 mats to cut. So I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. So doing that on 1 mat's not realistic, but just starting out, don't go out. I mean, you can, especially if you are at a good financial setting in your life. I mean, then go rogue and treat yourself. But if you're just starting out and trying to figure out if you like Cricut, if you like this type of craft, like be pretty conservative. You don't need 10 mats. You could work on 1 or 2. You don't need a ton of product because you can make a lot of things out of, 1 pack of paper while you're practicing. So that's my recommendation.
Yes, I love it. And so Bill was telling me there's a question. What's the question be? Is it from Liv?
Yes, the Rollo printer one.
So when it comes to like crafting, so I know we're talking a lot about Cricut, and that's just because it's a really cool tool. We're not sponsored. This is not sponsored in any way, by the way. Although, you know, if Cricut wanted to, we'd be totally open.
Hey, we're here.
Exactly, we're fine with that. Oh wait, before we go any further, speaking of plugs, you haven't done your plug. It's been a while since you did your plug. Do you want to do your plug? Bill wants a sponsorship.
Yeah,
so bad.
let's get on the ball here, folks.
Every time we're live, he's like, Yeti. Yeah, I don't think we're Yeti. That was from Lara. By the way, Lara and Brian, I think, said that to you a long time ago. They're always sending Yeti.
No, this is Chris. Lara's is the coffee mug with my name on it. I can go get that as well if you would like Yeti.
That's right. No, it's okay. We're back to Cricut. But you don't have to have a Cricut. You can cut things out by hand. That's okay too. The thing with the Cricut is it does save you time. But then also if you have other tools. So if you are, maybe you do maybe you sell on Etsy or Poshmark or somewhere else, and you have yourself a little printer that is a thermal printer, maybe a Rollo. Again, not sponsored, but I love my Rollo. You can make things with your Rollo. So Liv has a question. She has a Rollo printer, but doesn't know how to use that other than shipping labels. You can actually buy on Amazon these tiny little colored stickers, and that's what we've been doing. So we have like green and we don't have pink. I want pink. I was gonna buy pink, but we have a lot of these green, and they're super tiny, like 1 inch by 2 inch. And then you can print out like just thank you. You can use Canva or Procreate or whatever software you use to create or Cricut Design Space, and then you can print on these stickers and make your own little thank you stickers. And yeah.
Steph and Wolf also said it just worked up my nerve to try my rotary cutter on Cricut. I was blown away, not sure why the Cricut intimidates me.
Well, because it's new technology. So I agree. I used my rotary cutter today, and it was only the second time I had ever done it. And that was after talking to Kathy and getting inspired.
So I would say the same thing. So my mom bought herself a Cricut about a year ago. And she just keeps telling me that she's so intimidated by this thing. So all the people out there in this world watching this video who are scared of the Cricut machine, you should not be scared of anything you can pick up and throw out a window.
Wow.
I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to mess up the material?
Exactly. And if you do, which I have done, and I know you've told me you've done, it's all about making mistakes because you learn from them. And guess what? Yes. You'll end up with more scraps that you can use a different way for a different project.
And if it's something you've never cut before, like a piece of felt or a special kind of paper, like just maybe do a smaller version of whatever you're cutting out so that you don't waste it, and make sure you understand the settings that are needed to like make that cut successful. No one says you have to go big on the first cut. So if it's the first, if you're making felt flowers, right? There's a lot of pieces to a felt flower. Tori made one today, but it's like, if you've never cut felt before using your Cricut, don't make the whole flower your first cut. Like put a circle or a triangle or even a star on your mat to cut out first. Use your rotary cutter for the first time and make sure it works. And then that way, if for something were to go wrong, you've wasted, this much of a piece of felt and not a whole sheet that didn't work out.
Exactly. And so really fast, because Lara mentioned this. And so, by the way, Lara, Brian, if Peyton's there with you, I am wearing the ring that Peyton gave me. I try to wear this all the time, the anchor. Also, the shirts. You mentioned the shirts. So, yes, I did make these shirts. I made Bill a shirt today because I felt like he needed to have a shirt. Can everyone see your shirt? Because Bill doesn't really like crafts, but he likes craft beer.
He likes craft beer.
So I literally made this morning when I should have been doing something else. But
while I was picking up wine.
Yeah, when you went to pick me up wine. But anyway, yes, these are the type of things Cricut can do. But going back to the flower thing, I will tell you, this is only the second flower that I made with my Cricut. First one with felt. And look at this.
You did amazing.
I am so impressed with this. So I made this because a friend of mine got some really bad news, and I wanted to make them a gift that I could take over there and brighten their day. And so since this was about, using scraps, what I ended up doing was the interior of this, interior crocodile. Okay, anyway, my brain's going to TikTok.
Gosh.
Back to reality. So the interior is actually made of cardboard scraps that I had from a Fiskars package that I got. So I took that, and then I took fabric scraps, and then I hot glued it around. And then I ended up, and there's tons of, we call those strings. There's all the hot glue strings. And then I just made this I used brown felt in here so it kind of looks like potting soil, and then one of my stickers on the back. And it wasn't difficult. I mean, this took me probably 2 hours, but I was also filming TikToks and doing multitasking. So lots of things. And again, this is all, the fabric is actually upcycled felt that I had. It was scraps. The green is scraps. This is scraps. Everything is scraps, except the only thing that is not scraps is the
looks like hemp.
It's kind of, well, I got it at the Dollar Tree.
Twine?
It's like a twine ruffle kind of thing. That's the only thing that's not upcycled, but anyway, so yes, you can do a lot with that.
Oh, Kathy must be done.
Oh, what did you just do? Finish something, Kathy?
Oh, I just glued my little thank you onto my holographic paper.
How cute.
And if there are any new paper crafters, when you start getting the hang of it, this is the best glue. I'm not sponsored, but I absolutely love them. This is the best precision glue. It's called Barely Art.
And where do you use the glue? What's it for?
Well, so the thank you is paper too. So I had to glue the thank you onto the holographic paper.
Oh,
this is
vinyl.
No, this is paper on paper.
How much is the holographic paper? Is it super expensive?
No, but I'm a bargain shopper, so I don't pay full price for my paper.
Exactly.
It looks awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, this is some of my favorites. So I did a bunch of 3D letter gift boxes for all my employees at my day job at Christmas time, and this was like some of my favorite paper to use.
It looks so good. Okay, so I feel like since you're doing some projects, I need to get Bill over here started on a project. He's gonna freak the
Kathy,
F out.
I'm coming down there to whoop some butt.
Okay, so
I'll be here all weekend. I'll wait for you to get here.
All right.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna use for this project. Like I showed you before, some fabric. This is just paper that I pieced together. I made this little weave pattern. It doesn't look like anything you would send to anyone in a card. This is printer paper. That's all this is. And the reason I have this is because I printed out a pattern. I'm making a cocktail dress for my birthday.
Which is next weekend.
I'm so excited to see it.
Don't remind me. I haven't started the dress yet.
40
I
what?
cut out the pattern.
40 what?
Dude, I'm going to be 46. I am proud of my age.
Yep.
I don't know what. I'm totally proud of my age. But we're going to a charity cocktail party, and I'm making my dress, and yeah,
you don't have to drive home afterwards.
I have 7 days to make it, but it's okay. I will totally do it. I can bust out this dress.
Really?
But anyway, I printed out this digital pattern, and I messed up because I was trying to do it while I was live on TikTok, and too many things going on. So we're going to use this piece of paper so that it doesn't go to waste. And
it's going to waste.
I'm going to have Bill actually stitch this around. Actually, I'm gonna use my pinking shears. Now, I will tell everyone, if you are sewists, you should never use your pinking shears or your fabric scissors on paper ever, ever, ever. I'm gonna tell you that. But I've had these since I was probably 12 years old, and I've used them on paper and all these things. These barely.
I think you used those on my hair once.
I did not use these on your hair.
I'm fairly certain you did.
I mean, that would be a cool little cut. But anyway, so I always want to preface that these are dead. They're Singer. I've had them, like I said, since
You
I was
need to get
12.
them sharpened.
No, I just need to get a new pair because I'm going to use these for paper. So we're going to start by just cutting out a little pattern just to give them a little bit of personalization.
This is a bad idea, folks.
Hey, I'm letting you touch my baby, okay?
I don't want to touch it.
Oh, yeah,
it's a monster.
She's not
I'd
a
rather
monster.
touch my knives than that thing.
She's good. Okay, we're gonna. Oh, my ring got stuck. Okay, this is gonna be fun, by the way. Kathy, don't you miss being here and just listening to?
I do. You guys will always be my all-time favorite couple.
Well, because, okay, so as long as we've been friends, obviously Bill and I have been married, because Bill and I have been married 20 years. So
Not quite. Almost.
20 years in March. Okay, come on. That's a month away. It is a month away. So as we're thinking about that, do you have any stories of us? I don't know if I have any stories of us that I can share.
I remember pictures of Kathy's graduation.
Oh.
Those come right to mind.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
It was a great time.
Yep.
And I'm really glad that like social media wasn't as predominant back then as it is now.
Yeah.
Okay, I think about this. So like I remember being back in Flagstaff and we went dancing like we always did. We would always go out dancing. We were dancing at like, I think it was a strip club. Wasn't it right? That strip club that was
right next to Mad-Eye, right?
Yeah, they locked it, but they were willing to lock us in, and they said they'd serve unless we left. Why wouldn't you stay?
And we weren't stripping, just so everyone knows. We weren't.
No.
We were just. Hey, it was Flagstaff, Arizona.
Yeah, we were hanging out, and Tori was pretending to be a rock star on the stage.
On the table.
In her
bar.
In that polka dot, like,
in the polka dotted Minnie Mouse dress that you bought at like Marshall's.
Yeah, on clearance at Marshall's, which I don't know what I was thinking.
So, yeah, it was a great time. Taryn and I just went back to Flagstaff.
You did?
Yeah, we went back in October. Well, you definitely feel a little aged going. Mahoney's is closed. Mahoney's doesn't exist anymore. Apparently, they've been closed for 8 years.
What?
The 25-year-old bartender let me know that he wasn't even allowed to go there when it was closed.
Wow.
Yeah, we're old officially. Yeah. That is what happened.
Wait,
but campus is like 3 times the size. It's huge.
Yikes. Well, and if you don't know, Kathy and I both are alumni. We're alum of Northern Arizona University. So we are lumberjacks. That is our is that an alma mater? Is lumberjacks? Yeah. No, NAU is the alma mater.
NAU.
But lumberjacks was our mascot.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
No more goldfish races?
Goldfish races.
Oh man.
Okay.
Collins is still there.
Oh, Collins is still there.
Yeah, Collins. Mm-hmm. Okay, come over here. We're gonna have Bill sew everybody. This is gonna be a good adventure. All right. So
Kathy,
this is what's happening. I have taken this piece, these scraps right here, and on the back we have just this regular piece of paper, and I'm gonna have Bill just do a zigzag stitch all the way around. I would like to put fabric on here somehow though, because I need to tie that in.
No, don't make it.
Feels like don't make it more challenging.
You're not getting dinner tonight. You're scavenging.
I am not scavenging. Okay, so here's a little red. We'll do like a little red. This will be great, everybody. He's gonna love this.
Kathy, right. John's gonna let me in the door and not announce me, and then I'm gonna come. You're toast.
You'll have to deal with the mini me. She's more of a bodyguard than I am.
That's fine. Nora will say hi, and I'll give her a hug, and she'll let me in freely.
Okay, this is so. Just so everyone knows, this is the first time Bill has ever sewn, and so this is going to be.
That's the gas pedal.
That's the gas pedal, huh? Okay, we are going to. I'm going to show you how to do this, and then Kathy, you feel free to show anyone what you're working on.
Yeah, so I'm just making another little heart cutout, thank you. So instead of red, well, actually, just so people know that even crafting for years, you still make mistakes. So when I cut this out, I actually put my paper in the wrong spot when I was cutting them all out on the same page. So I accidentally cut my vinyl out big and my paper out small. So I can't have sticky back because then I wouldn't be able to write on it. So I just went back and I cut out a white heart out of another piece of scrap. So I'm going to put my vinyl heart on the white so that I still have a note card to write on, and then put the thank you on top of the vinyl. Awesome. So even though technically I did not cut this out how I originally planned, it'll still work and it'll still be a cute thank you card.
Exactly. And I love that you mentioned that, because mistakes, so people think if you've been doing it a while that you don't make mistakes. I find that complete fallacy.
Yeah, that's not real.
No, it's not real. There's always mistakes. Which this is going to be. Oh, sorry, Lily.
Oh, this is gonna be a mistake.
No, this is going to be fantastical. You're gonna love this.
Yeah. Sure, that's not gonna.
Okay, so what I want you to do. So right foot on the pedal. Okay.
Oh, I love this.
Have this on a zigzag stitch. You're gonna take your left hand and hold these strings right here. That's called the tail.
I have to hold that.
Just for
the entire
just
time?
for a second. In fact, here, just put your foot down. Just very. In fact, don't even put your foot down. We'll do this. Okay, cool. In fact, I'm gonna make this a little.
Just like that, I put my vinyl on my piece of paper, and so it's still a cute heart. I didn't waste any of my material, and then I will glue my gold thank you heart on top of the vinyl.
All right, so now what I want you to do is you can push down. So don't push down too hard. So it's kind of like driving. So push down a little slow. Okay, and go just all the way off. Take that off. Just go all the way forward. That's fine. Okay, so then take your right hand back here. There's a little clasp. Pull that up. All right, and then the needle's already up, so you can pull. Just tug on that gently. Okay, and then you're going to take a pair of scissors. You can use these, are kind of big, but just cut off the fabric or the thread.
Right there.
Yeah, that's great. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over that same spot. See how it's a little wonky?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to pull your tail threads just a little bit. We're going to put it
So,
right down
a
there.
little backstory for people watching.
Okay.
Tori is an amazing trainer. When I first met her, was working at a bank in Flagstaff while I was going to college, and she was my boss. So that tells you something, that after all of these years, I'm friends with my previous boss because she's that great of a teacher.
Well,
And person, and bar buddy, and adventure seeker, and tree climber, and caution cone stealer.
oh my gosh, the cones. Oh, the cones. So this is it's kind of hard to see. In fact, it is really difficult to see here. But Bill just stitched this fabric right here onto,
Right.
and I mean, it just adds a little bit of extra. And then now on the back, you can see that it's stitched here. And then I'm going to have him do just one more around here, run here, and one here. And then that will leave this whole space open in the center for us to write thank you. And it becomes a little thank you card. You can either fold it in half. So that's what I'm going to have him do now. But yes, my background is in training. I still do education. I do for a tech company now. So now I'm actually making content. I don't have to train anymore and be all stressed out all the time, which is great.
So no fabric on this one?
That was the fabric. You already put the fabric. So now you're just stitching. We're going to do that. And then you're going to go down. So, yep, hold the thread just for a little bit. And go ahead and go forward. Okay, and then stop. Stop. Okay, now before you pull it out, you can do a couple things. You can either back stitch it in place so that it stays, although see how, you want to keep that straight. So there's a line right there. Mm-hmm. So if you hold this down and then press the gas pedal and then stop. And then we're going to go forward just a couple. All right. So now pull up the back, move just like that. Excellent. So you get it at a straight angle, pop that back down. And then now you want to keep it straight. You can kind of follow this line right here, or you can follow that line around here. And then, you can just go forward. Okay, and then pop that up. And then we're going to do one more, and then we'll tug it just a little. You always want to make sure that your needle is up so it doesn't bend the needle. You don't have to take it out, but pull it out just a little bit more so we have a little bit more wiggle room. Okay, now put it back under and then line this up with this little right here, and then put the little thing down in the back. Okay, and then just try to keep this as straight as possible here, and then just stitch all the way down. And that's it. Now pull the back up. Make sure the needle is in the up position. So this is your little thing. Make sure that needle all the way up. You can pull the threads now, and then take your scissors and snip off those extra threads.
All right.
Cool. So this is what Bill just created.
Woo-hoo, Bill!
God.
I know it's seems, we're going to clean this up just a little bit, but it's just the stitches are somehow this popped out right there, but we'll fix that. But this is it. It's just, I mean, so simple. You can fold it in half and now you can write thank you on it. It's great. Are you kidding me?
It's perfect.
Good job.
Oh
You did
my
such
God.
a great job.
Now you've earned your beer now. Good job.
Exactly. Your craft beer. Although I'm pretty sure you're not having a craft beer. I'm pretty sure you're just having Rainier, which is not really a craft beer. That's like a Washington beer for sure. You want to scoot over? Why is you want to pick Lil up? Okay, so we have talked a lot about we're coming up to the hour, so we made it through.
Yeah,
I think we were. Kathy and I talk a lot, by the way. Typically,
we can just keep it going about anything and whatever. So
exactly. And I would love to, because there's so many other things that I want to learn, because you've been using the Cricut for so long and I'm really new to it. And you know, like other people, it can be intimidating. And for me, it's more like, I don't know what I don't know. So, and I told you, I bought all the things. I mean, this last year, I bought some faux leather and I bought the wood and I bought all kinds of little things that I can make, but I just don't know
what to make.
Exactly. There's too many things. So so I guess the kind of a last question, which I think you've already answered, but what would be if you were someone who has a lot of scraps, whether it's fabric or paper crafts, what other project would you say is going to be simple? So this is obviously a great starting point project. Is there something else that you would recommend as well?
Any like wood blank. You can Mod Podge. Like Mod Podge is pretty affordable. It's just a fancy glue. If you have kids, you probably have Elmer's glue. Just put a little water in it so that it's more of like a not so much glue, but a little bit of a thinner paste. But you can you could probably find old wood signs at Goodwill. So if you really want to upcycle things, go find some signs, old holiday decor, old picture frames. Yeah, so even something as simple as that, you could use your scraps. I mean, even like before I even got into vinyl, I mean, vinyl is kind of my go-to for like cutting intricate stuff out because it's really easy to transfer onto whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But even before that, it's like I'd go buy like an old sign from the Goodwill, $2 for this sign that somebody donated, sand it down a little bit, paint it. Chalk paint is amazing and vinyl sticks to chalk paint. And then cut out something and put it on there. So if you see
don't forget your
okay,
embroidery.
so for instance, actually.
Good. While you're grabbing something, I have something too.
For instance, so this was like a little jack-o'-lantern face that I actually found at Goodwill. And I liked that it was a pumpkin, but I wanted something for Thanksgiving. So I had some burlap material. So I glued that on there. I cut this out of white vinyl. And then I just had some extra like embellishments because I have a craft room full of stuff. So I made this completely out of material that I had. And I think I paid like $1.50 for the pumpkin face that I just painted over.
Nice.
So it's like you can make little home decor things and holiday decor. And it's like, I don't know if anyone else realized it, but even like Target, Walmart, all the stores, like Christmas decorations went up in price this year. Like something that would have been $5 last year was more like $10 this year or $8 this year. You can make a lot of that. So like cutesy home decor, holiday decor, that'd probably be a great place to start for like a beginner crafter with or without a machine. Yeah. You can also buy some of these cute little decals already done at the Dollar Tree.
Yes, absolutely. And then Mod Podge, like you mentioned, is always a great way.
So Mod Podge is like your best friend, especially if you're a new crafter, because you can use Mod Podge literally on everything. And you can put it under and over.
Exactly. Well, and then this kind of ties in with the fabric piece because that's where my passion is. So this was one of those, I think I got this on the clearance rack at Joann's or something. It was probably like $1. And I took my fabric scraps that I keep talking about that I ended up, same thing that I did with this fabric that I recently made. and I just Mod Podged it. I just put it on here, Mod Podged it, and then I took a gold Sharpie and then just Sharpied the edges. So it doesn't, you don't have to do a lot of, and then of course I made some Cricut flowers because I had to be extra, but there's so much you can do with just fabric scraps and paper scraps.
Yes. So yeah, so like if you don't sell things, right? Say you don't even do reselling, say you don't sell anything on Etsy and thank you cards don't really make sense, and you don't send cards to family or whatnot. Look into just cute little holiday decor. Even that's what my mom makes actually, and she's been doing it now for I mean with her Cricut, some of her Cricut stuff about a year, but she's been doing it for about 2 years, and now she's selling some of her holiday decor. Like she buys a lot of her stuff either secondhand or through the Dollar Tree. So it doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. It can become one, but to start off, it definitely doesn't have to be one.
Exactly. And I would really encourage, and maybe I'm encouraging myself right now, but to use what you already have in your craft room. If you are a crafter and you've been crafting for any time, even if you've never, maybe you're just starting doing something with scraps, you have stuff you have stuff somewhere, like in a drawer, organized like you just did, or maybe not organized.
Yeah, but keep in mind my paper scrap pile had been building for quite some time. Like this whole Scrappy Hour motivated me to finally put it all in this bin, but it doesn't typically happen in here, but
well, and there's so much, and we were talking about other projects as well. There's just so many things that can happen with fabric scraps, and
but truly, like, look around your house. You've got something that could be upcycled.
Exactly. Well, and then one of the things, the project that I want to leave on was, we had talked about it for like 5 seconds earlier today, but Keyrings. Okay, so I want to talk about this because it's like these little fobs you can buy on Amazon. I bought like the little flyer and the things for like $18. And you can make these, again, this isn't about like, if you want to sell them, great, but this is like, think about all the customized gifts you can make for people with paper scraps. And I think so tell me what you used you told me earlier what you used, because I used fabric for mine, but I think you used something different.
So I used heat transfer vinyl, HTV is the pattern, and then I had faux leather. So because I don't know, I just have a lot of stuff. So anyways, faux leather, and then I just iron on the strip of HTV that's got a pattern to it.
And I love it. And there's so much, because also I'm thinking about if you have clothing that's damaged, because I keep going back to that because a lot of us do.
So these actually are a pretty popular item on Etsy when they're made out of fabric, or at least have some stitching to it. So that's kind of what I was telling Tori earlier, is that I actually really like these, and they actually hold up better than I thought that they would. I've been carrying one around. I'm not one that sells things unless I've trialed it. So I've been carrying one around, and I told her the only thing I think I will do different if I go the route of listing these on Etsy is that I am going to do some stitching, and you can stitch over HTV. So do just a simple stitch on both sides to kind of make it look a little bit more finished.
Yes. And I'm excited to try that with, I have denim that I have in my stash that's like damaged denim that I wanted.
Leather in your
I know.
stash.
I think that there's so much that you can do. And it's just, there's so much that we can make out of just little tiny pieces that would end up in the trash or in the landfill, unfortunately.
Yeah, and there's sewing patterns. For people who have a ton of fabric, there's sewing patterns for the keychain chapstick holders and the keychain hand sanitizer holders. Like, those items are always going to be popular. Like, so you can just use your scraps and stuff for that, or even felt. I think you could even make it out of like felt and faux leather.
Absolutely. Well, and that also reminds me. So if any one of you is a maker and you make anything at all. So I have someone who mentioned to me that they do make the little lip balm holders and pot holders out of upcycled scraps. And if you do, let me know. I would love to have you on with us, and so we can look at the projects, because I think that there are so many out there, and it would be really cool to share with everyone else. Also, as we wrap up, what was I going to say? Make sure you like this video if you're watching it in repeat or if you're watching it now. That really lets us know that it doesn't even matter. Our time was totally worth it because this was so much fun. So I'm going to say that. But Kathy, as we wrap up, let us know where can we find your items? What are you on social media and anything else you want to wrap up with?
Yes, so I am on Instagram. You can find me at crafty_small. And then I have my Etsy shop. So right now my Etsy shop doesn't have a ton posted right now, but my February small business goal is to launch some new items. I'm specifically going to focus on those hardworking moms. So there's going to be lots of new mom mugs launching this month. Both stay-at-home moms, working moms, you do both. You're all rock stars, so you deserve a good cup to drink your coffee or your wine or your cocktail or whatever you drink out of. So there will be lots of that coming in the next week or so.
Yay. Well, and I will say, if Lara and Brian are still on, Brian, one of your holiday presents was actually from Kathy. So the one of your it was the one Christmas Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Kathy is the one that made that. So if you're wondering, that's how it all ties together.
Yes. And then if there is any resellers out there that have cute logos and you would like a personalized tumbler like what Tori and I have, I don't have a specific listing for it yet. I'm still new and I'm still a little hesitant, but just reach out to me, send me a message through Instagram. I'm happy to do a custom order for people. So I know that stuff doesn't necessarily, get sold by Poshers and whatnot, but if you want something with your logo on it, just reach out to me. I've got lots of styles and options.
Absolutely. And you can easily do a custom listing on Etsy. And I can vouch for your quality because you always send me, when I first started Poshmark, you sent me a whole care package of my branded stuff. And I was like, this is what it's like to have a brand. This is amazing. So I can vouch for her for years.
Yeah, you got to have that special tumbler, right? For being, an awesome boss and packing up your packages and being a one-person show most of the time. So it's like, if you want a custom tumbler with your logo on it, I'd be happy to help.
Yes. And I love this. I am obsessed with mine. So I would, again, it's really great to show off your brand. Okay. So to wrap us up, Steph and Wolf, I want to post this because this is a really awesome way to kind of end us. She is making new dog products and hopes to launch them this week. So good luck. Let us know. Share what's your closet, what's your name, or what's your store name. And she found us on Insta. She found you on Insta, Kathy. And so so thank you so much. It was so awesome for you to join us and everyone else. Hopefully this was fun. If so, let us know another project. If you have anything else you'd like us to see us do in the future. This is my passion and I absolutely had fun doing this, Kathy. So
thank you. Thanks everybody. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Until next time. See ya.